Welcome back to the Metabolic Revolution podcast. I'm Dr. Steve Prosciutti, and I am so excited to be here with you today. This is a very special episode, Season 2, Episode 1. Before we dive in today, I want to take a moment to thank you. Thank you for being part of Season 1. Thank you for your support, your feedback, and for joining us on this journey to reclaim your health. Season 1 was incredible beyond anything I could have imagined. We covered PUFA toxicity, the truth about fasting, the protein myth, omega-3 fish oil deception, fertility optimization, and so much more. The response from all of you has been overwhelming. I've heard from listeners who've transformed their temperatures, restored their metabolisms, and taken back control of their health. You've applied these principles and you've seen results. And now we're just getting started. I am thrilled to welcome you to Season 2. We have so much in store for you. New topics, deeper dives into the science you love, more practical protocols you can apply immediately, and yes, some surprises along the way that I think you're going to love. The revolution continues, and Season 2 is going to be our best season yet. So let's get started. Everything you've been told about genetics is incomplete. Your doctor says it's genetic, like it's a life sentence. Like you drew the short straw in the genetic lottery, and there's nothing you can do about it. High cholesterol? Genetic. Thyroid issues? Genetic. Weight gain? Genetic. It's the ultimate medical cop-out, the ultimate way to make you feel like a victim of your own biology. But what if I told you that genes only control about 25% of your health outcomes? What if I told you that the other 75% is completely under your control? Today I'm going to introduce you to the science that changes everything, the science that mainstream medicine doesn't want you to understand. The science that puts you back in the driver's seat of your health. This is the Metabolic Revolution. I'm Dr. Steve Prosciutti, and today we're talking about the epigenetic revolution. This is the revolution nobody in conventional medicine wants you to understand. Because once you understand epigenetics, once you understand that genes aren't destiny, their entire narrative falls apart. Once you understand that you have control, there's nothing you can do mantra becomes obsolete. So let's dive in. Let me show you why everything you've been told about genetics is wrong, and more importantly, what you can do about it. Here's the metaphor that changed everything for me. DNA is your hardware. Epigenetics is your software. Think about it. Your computer hardware, the processor, the memory, the hard drive, that's fixed. You can't change it. But the software, the operating system, the programs that run on that hardware, that's completely flexible. You can upgrade it, you can optimize it, you can rewrite it entirely. That's the difference between DNA and epigenetic. Your DNA sequence is the hardware. You inherited it from your parents, half from mom, half from dad. That sequence is fixed. You can't change it. But epigenetics, that's the software. That's which genes are turned on and which genes are turned off. That's how your DNA is expressed. And here's the revolutionary part. That software is completely rewritable. You're upgrading or downgrading your epigenetic software every single day. With every meal, with every sleepless night, with every stressful thought, with every decision you make. Now I know what you're thinking. But Dr. Steve, what about twin studies? Identical twins have the exact same DNA, so they should have the exact same health outcomes, right? Wrong. And this is where the research gets fascinating. There's a landmark study from 2005. Fraga and colleagues looked at identical twins. These are monozygotic twins, twins who developed from a single fertilized egg, so they have the exact same DNA sequence, the exact same hardware. When these twins were young, 3 years old, their epigenetic profiles were almost indistinguishable, essentially identical. Their software was the same. But here's what happened as they aged. The researchers looked at these same twins decades later, 50-year-old twins, and what they found changed everything. The older twin pairs showed substantial variations in their epigenetic profiles, massive differences in DNA methylation patterns, huge differences in gene expression. Remember, same DNA, same hardware, but completely different software. One twin might have genes associated with cancer turned on. The other twin might have those same genes turned off. One twin might have inflammatory genes activated. The other twin might have those same genes silenced. Same hardware, different software. different health outcomes. The researchers found that for 35% of twin pairs, there were significant epigenetic differences. That's not a small number. That's more than 1 in 3 identical twins who started with the same DNA but ended up with completely different gene expression. What caused the difference? Environment, lifestyle, diet, stress, toxins, all the factors that conventional medicine likes to dismiss as not genetic. But here's the thing. Those environmental factors are genetic because they're epigenetic. They're changing how your genes are expressed. Let me explain the mechanism simply. It's called DNA methylation. Think of it like this. Your DNA has these little chemical tags called methyl groups that sit on top of your genes. These methyl groups act like switches. When a gene is methylated, when it has these methyl groups attached, it's typically turned off, silenced. The gene is still there, but it's not being expressed. It's not producing proteins. When a gene is unmethylated, when those methyl groups are removed, it's typically turned on, active. The gene is being expressed. It's producing proteins. And here's the key. You can't change your DNA sequence, but you can change which genes are methylated. You can change which genes are expressed. That's what epigenetics means. Epi means above or on top of. Epigenetics means above genetics. It's the layer of control sitting on top of your DNA, determining which genes are active and which are silent. And this layer, this epigenetic layer, it's completely dynamic, completely responsive to your environment, completely under your control. Studies have shown that DNA methylation heritability ranges from only 3 to 20%. That means somewhere between 80 to 97% of your epigenetic profile is determined by non-genetic factors. Environment, lifestyle, diet. You're not a victim of your genes. You're the author of your genetic expression. And once you understand this, everything changes. Let me give you a concrete example. I had a client, Sarah, who came to me with the diagnosis, it's just genetic. Her mother had thyroid problems, her grandmother had thyroid problems. She was told her sluggish metabolism was just her destiny, like there was nothing she could do. Sarah was 34, running a body temperature of 97.2 degrees Fahrenheit, exhausted all the time, hair falling out, TSH at 6.8. Her endocrinologist had her on Synthroid, but she still felt terrible. The doctor told her, some people just have bad thyroids. It's genetic. You'll need medication forever. But Sarah didn't have bad genes. She had bad epigenetic software. We optimized her methyl donor intake. We added egg yolks for choline, leafy greens for folate, adequate protein for methionine and B12. We supported her mitochondrial energy production with traditional fats and eliminated seed oils. We structured her meals to support circadian cortisol rhythms. After 6 weeks, her body temperature rose to 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Her TSH normalized to 2.1. Her energy transformed. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was thriving. Was it genetic? Yes. Was it destiny? No. It was epigenetic. And that meant she could change it. So how do you rewrite your epigenetic software? How do you change which genes are turned on and which genes are turned off? It starts with food. Every meal you eat sends signals to your genes. Every bite is information. Every nutrient is a message. Your cells are constantly asking, what's the environment like? Are we safe? Are we nourished? Should we grow or should we protect ourselves? And the answer comes from your food, from the nutrients you provide. Let me give you a specific example. Methyl donors. These are nutrients that literally donate methyl groups to your DNA. They provide the raw materials for DNA methylation, those epigenetic switches I told you about. The key methyl donors are folate. The active form is 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. This is what your body uses to methylate homocysteine and convert it back to methionine. It's essential for the methylation cycle. Vitamin B12. This is the cofactor that works with folate. You need B12 to activate folate and make it usable. Without B12, folate gets trapped in an inactive form and can't do its job. Choline. This is found in egg yolks, liver, and other animal foods. Your body can convert choline into betaine, which is another methyl donor. Choline is especially critical during pregnancy for proper neural development. Methionine. This is an essential amino acid found in protein. It's the precursor to S-adenosylmethionine, SAM, which is your body's universal methyl donor. Every methylation reaction in your body uses SAM. Vitamin B6. This is involved in the methylation cycle, helping to convert homocysteine and supporting the overall process. Now here's what happens when you're deficient in these methyl donors. Research shows that methyl-deficient diets low in methionine, choline, folate, B6, and B12, lead to hypomethylation. That means your DNA doesn't have enough methyl groups attached. And hypomethylation is associated with cancer development, autoimmune conditions, accelerated aging, neurological dysfunction, metabolic dysfunction. Conversely, when you provide adequate methyl donors through your diet, you support proper DNA methylation. You support the epigenetic regulation that keeps cancer genes silenced and healthy genes active. But it's not just about methyl donors. Food provides epigenetic information through many different pathways. Polyphenols. These are plant compounds that act as epigenetic regulators. Let me give you some specific examples. Curcumin from turmeric. Research shows that curcumin modulates DNA methylation patterns, particularly in cancer cells. It can silence oncogenes and activate tumor suppressor genes. It does this by influencing the enzymes that add and remove methyl groups from DNA. Resveratrol, found in grapes and red wine. Studies show that resveratrol activates SIRT1, which is a class of epigenetic regulators called sirtuins. Sirtuins remove acetyl groups from histones, another type of epigenetic modification. This activation is associated with longevity and improved metabolic health. EGCG, the main polyphenol in green tea. Research shows that EGCG can inhibit DNA methyltransferases, the enzymes that add methyl groups to DNA. This can reactivate silenced tumor suppressor genes. Quercetin, found in onions and apples. Studies demonstrate that quercetin modulates both DNA methylation and histone modifications, influencing inflammation and cancer pathways. These polyphenols aren't just antioxidants, they're epigenetic regulators. They're information molecules that tell your genes how to behave. And here's what's fascinating. These compounds work synergistically. The combination of curcumin, resveratrol, and quercetin has been shown to have combinatorial epigenetic effects that are more powerful than any single compound alone. This is why a varied, nutrient-dense diet is so powerful. You're not just getting nutrients, you're getting epigenetic information. You're providing the signals your cells need to optimize gene expression. Every meal is either upgrading or downgrading your epigenetic software. Every bite is turning genes on or off. The question is, which genes are you activating? Which genes are you silencing? And here's the key insight that connects epigenetics to our bioenergetic principles. All these epigenetic processes require energy. They require ATP. This is where most people miss the connection. They think about nutrients in diet, but they forget about energy. Every epigenetic modification requires ATP. Every methylation reaction, every histone modification, every chromatin remodeling event. DNA methyltransferases, the enzymes that add methyl groups to DNA. They're ATP dependent. The process of generating SAM, your universal methyl donor, that's ATP dependent. The enzymes that remove methyl groups, also ATP dependent. And what's the source of all this ATP? Your mitochondria. Your mitochondria generate ATP and the intermediate metabolites necessary for epigenetic modifications. Mitochondrial function is essential to generate and modify epigenetic marks. Here's the connection that mainstream medicine completely misses. Low energy equals impaired epigenetic regulation. When your mitochondria aren't producing enough ATP, your cells can't maintain proper epigenetic control. They can't keep the right genes turned on and the right genes turned off. This is why metabolic optimization is epigenetic optimization. When you improve your mitochondrial function, when you increase ATP production, you're improving your body's capacity for epigenetic regulation. You're giving your cells the energy they need to maintain proper gene expression patterns. Let me give you a specific example. SAM, S-adenosylmethionine, is your universal methyl donor. Every methylation reaction in your body uses SAM. DNA methylation, neurotransmitter synthesis, phase 2 liver detoxification, all of it uses SAM. But SAM synthesis requires ATP. You can't make SAM without ATP. So if your mitochondria aren't producing enough ATP, you can't make enough SAM. And without enough SAM, you can't maintain proper DNA methylation. See the connection? Low energy to low SAM to impaired methylation to dysregulated gene expression to disease. Conversely, when you optimize mitochondrial function, when you increase ATP production, you support the entire methylation cycle. You support proper epigenetic regulation. This is why the bioenergetic approach is so powerful. It's not just about energy for feeling good. It's about energy for proper genetic expression. Now let me give you a practical way to think about this. Temperature as a proxy for epigenetic health. Your body temperature is regulated by your mitochondria. Thyroid hormone stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis and oxidative metabolism. When your thyroid function is optimal, when your mitochondria are producing abundant ATP, your body temperature is normal, around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. But when your mitochondrial function is impaired, when ATP production is low, your body temperature drops. You might run at 97.5 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. You might have cold hands and feet. You might feel cold all the time. Here's what's fascinating. Low body temperature is associated with impaired methylation. Low energy states are associated with epigenetic dysregulation. So when you're optimizing your metabolic rate, when you're working to raise your body temperature through bioenergetic principles, you're not just improving energy, you're improving epigenetic regulation. You're improving your body's capacity to control gene expression. This is why traditional fats like coconut oil, butter, and tallow support epigenetic health. They provide the saturated fats that support thyroid function and mitochondrial energy production. And that energy production enables proper methylation. This is why seed oils impair epigenetic health. They're polyunsaturated fats that suppress mitochondrial function and reduce ATP production. And that energy impairment compromises epigenetic regulation. This is why eliminating processed foods supports epigenetic health. Processed foods are stripped of methyl donors. They're low in folate, B12, choline. They're high in refined carbohydrates that impair mitochondrial function. They're actively damaging your epigenetic software. Everything is connected. Metabolic optimization is epigenetic optimization. When you improve your cellular energy, you improve your genetic expression. Let me give you another example. Another client, Michael, had been told his high cholesterol was genetic. His father had a heart attack at 52. Michael was 43. Total cholesterol at 287. LDL at 182. Inflammatory markers through the roof. His doctor wanted to put him on a statin immediately. "It's just your genes, Michael," the doctor said. "Your father had the same issue. It's inevitable." But Michael didn't want a statin. He wanted to know why his body was producing so much cholesterol. He came to us looking for answers. Here's what we found. Michael was eating a low-fat diet high in seed oils. He was fasting 16 hours a day. He was running marathons but felt exhausted. His body was under stress. His mitochondria were barely producing energy. His epigenetic software was programmed for disease. We worked on optimizing his epigenetic software through bioenergetic principles. 3 meals a day with adequate protein and methyl donors. Traditional fats like butter, coconut oil, and tallow. Elimination of all seed oils. Adequate carbohydrates to prevent stress hormone elevation. We added turmeric for curcumin and green tea for EGCG, epigenetic regulators. In 8 weeks, his cholesterol dropped to 198. His LDL fell to 118. His HSCRP, that inflammatory marker, dropped by 60% from 4.2 to 1.7. His energy was better than it had been in 20 years. His doctor couldn't believe it. Asked what medication he was on. Michael said, "I changed my epigenetic software." The doctor didn't understand, but I did. And now you do too. It wasn't genetic destiny. It was epigenetic programming. And Michael rewrote his code. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean for your health? It means you are not a victim of your genes. It means every choice you make today is programming tomorrow's health. Every meal is either upgrading or downgrading your epigenetic software. Every lifestyle decision is turning genes on or off. Let me be clear. This isn't about blame. If you're dealing with health challenges, it's not your fault. You were operating with incomplete information. You were told that genes were destiny, that there was nothing you could do. That was wrong. You were lied to. And here's the empowering truth. You can change. You can rewrite your epigenetic software. You can change which genes are expressed. Studies show that DNA methylation is dynamic. It changes throughout your lifetime. It responds to lifestyle interventions. You can alter your epigenetic patterns in a matter of weeks to months. And this brings me to something truly revolutionary: generational healing. I mentioned earlier that epigenetic patterns can be heritable, but here's what most people don't understand. That's not just about passing down trauma. It's also about passing down healing. When you heal your own epigenetic patterns, when you optimize your methylation and improve your gene expression, you're not just helping yourself, you're potentially benefiting your children and your grandchildren. Research on the Dutch hunger winter showed that famine exposure during pregnancy affected the health of not just the immediate children, but the grandchildren too. Epigenetic patterns can be transmitted across generations. But if negative epigenetic patterns can be transmitted, so can positive ones. When you heal yourself, you're healing future generations. You're breaking cycles of disease that may have plagued your family for decades. We're going to dive deeper into this in weeks 5 and 6 of this series, when we talk about transgenerational epigenetic inheritance and generational trauma. But I wanted to plant this seed now. Your healing isn't just about you. It's about your lineage. So what should you do this week? How can you start applying this revolutionary science? Here are 3 actionable steps. Step 1. Eat methyl-rich foods every day. Focus on the methyl donors I mentioned earlier. You need folate from fruit or juice, B12 from animal foods, eggs, meat, fish, choline from egg yolks and liver, methionine from protein, beef, lamb, poultry, B6 from poultry, potatoes, bananas. A bioenergetic breakfast is perfect for this. Eggs with choline-rich yolks, fruit or juice for folate, a little meat or fish for B12 and methionine. This isn't just good energy, it's epigenetic optimization. Step 2, support mitochondrial energy production. Remember, ATP is required for every epigenetic modification. So you need to optimize energy production. Eat traditional saturated fats, butter, coconut oil, tallow, that support thyroid function. Eliminate seed oils that suppress mitochondrial function. Eat 3 consistent meals to support circadian cortisol rhythms and energy production. Get adequate carbohydrates to support thyroid and prevent stress hormone elevation. Don't fast excessively. Prolonged fasting impairs methylation by depleting methyl donors. When you raise your body temperature, when you have warm hands and feet and abundant energy, you're supporting epigenetic regulation. Step 3. Add epigenetic modulating polyphenols. Incorporate foods that modulate gene expression. Turmeric with black pepper for curcumin. Green tea for EGCG. Colorful vegetables and fruits for quercetin and other polyphenols. Berries and grapes for resveratrol. These aren't just antioxidants, they're epigenetic regulators. They're information molecules that tell your genes how to behave. Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't theoretical. This isn't some distant science that might be relevant someday. This is happening right now, in your body, with every meal. Every bite of food is a message to your genes. Every lifestyle decision is upgrading or downgrading your epigenetic software. The question is, what message are you sending? Are you telling your genes to express health, or are you telling them to express disease? The choice is yours, not your doctor's choice, not your genetics choice. your choice. Everything I've shared today changes the fundamental question. Instead of asking, what's wrong with my genes, we should be asking, what's wrong with my epigenetic software? Because here's the truth. You can't change your DNA sequence. That hardware is fixed. But you can change your epigenetic software. You can change which genes are expressed. You can rewrite the code of your health. This is the revolution that mainstream medicine doesn't want you to understand. Because once you understand that genes aren't destiny, their entire narrative falls apart. Once you understand that you have control, you're no longer a victim. You're an active participant in your health. Over the next 6 weeks, we're going to dive deep into this revolutionary science. We're going to explore Week 2, Food as Epigenetic Information. How specific nutrients and dietary patterns program your genes for health or disease. Week 3, Light, Temperature, and Movement. How environmental factors regulate your epigenetic software. Week 4, Stress, Sleep, and Rhythms. How lifestyle factors influence gene expression through epigenetic pathways. Week 5, Generational Trauma and Inherited Patterns. Understanding how ancestral experiences shaped your current epigenetic profile. Week 6, Generational Healing. How to break cycles of disease and optimize health for future generations. This is going to be a transformative series. We're going to challenge everything you've been told about genetics. We're going to show you that you have far more control than you ever imagined. And here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to start applying these principles today. Don't wait for the next episode. Start now. Eat methyl-rich foods, support your mitochondrial energy production, add epigenetic modulating polyphenols to your diet, and if you want expert guidance through this process, if you want to optimize your epigenetic software with professional support, we have the perfect starting point. The Energy Reset Essentials program at BioSpark Health is your entry point into metabolic optimization. It's designed to help you implement the bioenergetic principles that support epigenetic health. 6 weeks of coaching, community support, customized protocols designed around your unique needs. And right now, we're offering a free metabolic assessment for anyone ready to take control of their health. No obligation, no pressure, just clarity about where you are and what's possible. Visit biosparkhealth.com to claim your free assessment and learn more about Energy Reset Essentials. This is the revolution. This is the science that changes everything. You are not a victim of your genes. You are the author of your genetic expression. Every meal is a message. Every choice is programming your future health. What message will you send? You came to the right place. Let's talk.